My friend and renowned social researcher Mark McQueen recently released some predictions of the key consumer trends that will define the near future. In his forecast, the one statement that grabbed my attention most was this. He said, quote, "The years ahead will see consumers value trust, whether it be in a brand, a person, or an entity, above price, promise, or experience. Those who can gain and keep trust through transparency and values-based offerings will thrive," close quote. Now, I believe that Mark is absolutely spot on. This is especially true for digital brands in the new economy. Writing for the Sydney Morning Herald, journalist Tony Featherstone recently argued that trust is oxygen in the digital economy. Now, I would suggest that there are three concrete and commercial imperatives for becoming a trust-focused or character-driven brand or organization. The first is that trusted brands are actually more lucrative. According to research conducted by Harris Insights and Analytics, over half of consumers today will investigate a corporation's behavior before buying a product or service from them. Now, more significantly, 1/3 of those reported having decided not to do business with a company because of something they discovered about how the company conducts itself. Now, that's a significant number. In this age of transparency, customers are making increasingly informed decisions, and failing to adjust to this reality could cost companies big time in the years ahead. In purely financial terms, the business case for purpose-driven, values-based and trust-focused practices is really hard to ignore. Consider the fact that a recent Harvard Business Review study found that over 40 academic studies had found positive correlations between operating with strong social values and financial performance. Or consider the fact that brands that have a clear sense of meaning and social responsibility have outperformed stock market benchmarks by over 120% over the last 15 years. The importance of earning trust by having values-based practices is especially important with younger consumers. Research indicates that millennials, for instance, are twice as likely than older generations to want their pension funds invested responsibly. In a recent Morgan Stanley survey, 61% of millennials reported making at least one sustainable investment decision within the past year, and 75% expressed a belief that their investments should make an impact to reverse things like climate change. Now, beyond the world of investments, 60% of millennials will consider a brand's reputation and social credibility when choosing who to buy from or work for. And 92% of millennials believe that a business's success should not be measured by profit primarily or alone. Now, considering millennials possess 35 to 45% of discretionary spending power in our economy, and they will be the dominant consumer cohort over the next 5 to 10 years, these expectations are ones that we simply cannot afford to ignore. Now, the second reason that trust building is commercially compelling is that trusted brands are more loved. Although gauging the degree to which a brand is loved can seem vague or subjective, it is in fact something that is highly quantifiable. Every year, for instance, Harris Insights and Analytics conduct a brand perception survey with over 35,000 consumers around the world and compile the results into what's known as the Harris Reputational Quotient. In this research, some of the brands who have consistently topped the list in recent years are brands like Amazon, Patagonia, Procter & Gamble, Microsoft, and Samsung. Now, in contrast, we've seen many brands tumble down this list in these rankings in recent years. Brands like Google, Boeing, Johnson & Johnson, and Volkswagen. Now, in each of these cases, the decline in customer affinity can be directly related to breaching the confidence and the trust of the marketplace. Now, whether this was through privacy violations in the case of Google, emissions efficiency scandals with Volkswagen, or fatally flawed jets in the case of Boeing, each of these brands have paid a heavy price for taking customer trust for granted. The endlessly quotable Zig Ziglar once said, "If people like you, they'll listen to you, but if they trust you, they'll do business with you." Now, going one step further than this quote, the love customers feel for brands that earn their trust over time will see them do business with these brands over and over again. Better yet, they'll become advocates and raving fans. Now, there can be no better goal for any organization or any business or any leader than this. The third reason that any business or leader ought to do whatever it takes to build trust is that trusted brands are more long-lasting. In an article for the Open Government Partnership, Corporate governance expert May Miller-Dawkins said this, quote, "Companies interested in lasting the long term understand that maintaining trust translates to stronger brand reputation, a more reliable social license to operate, and an ability to attract and retain talent and capital. Trust," she said, "is the foundation of long-term business success." Miller and Dawkins' argument is backed up by the research too. Consider the findings of the Future Brand Index in recent years. This index identifies brands that are most future fit or on track to succeed for many years to come, and it includes a number of brands that have been around for many, many years or decades. Brands like Coca-Cola, Disney, Nestle, and 3M. Now, by all means, these are brands that have had their ups and their downs over the years when it comes to how trusted they are by customers. However, they've consistently focused on building a reputation of reliability and trustworthiness that has seen them last the distance and will likely see them continue to last the distance for many, many years to come. Speaking to his disciple Tzu King in 492 BC, Confucius famously advised, quote, "Abandon weapons first, then food, but never abandon trust. People cannot get on without trust. Trust," he said, "is more important than life," close quote. Regardless of the business or industry you're in, whatever it takes to build or maintain trust will be worth every ounce of effort. Not only will being trusted see you endure over the long term and earn more in a financial sense, it will also see you earn the respect, the affinity, and the admiration of those you are looking to serve.